Hey, how's it going everyone? This is the Anime Man. Welcome to another episode of Joey Does Reviews. In this episode, I will be reviewing the highly praised and very deep social commentary of Yahari, Ore no Seishun no Kome wa Machigatteiru. Try and say that 3 times fast. Now, if you guys are catching up on the current anime season of the time of this recording, then you will know that there is a season 2 currently airing. Except I haven't started watching it because, for one thing, I have already read the light novel ahead, so I kind of know what happens. And 2, I just had no time to watch anime. But regardless, this is the first season that I will be reviewing today, and this is really just the most interesting anime I've seen in a very long time. And I'm hoping that I will convince you guys to go watch this series or go try it out if you haven't yet watched it. But before we move on to the review, let's go on with the synopsis. The series' main protagonist, Hikigaya Hachiman, is a very secluded introvert where he really hates everything. He hates friendship, he hates school, and he has a very unique way of looking at life and looking at these kinds of social situations, especially in high school, as he is currently a high school student. And after getting his ass kicked for submitting a really kind of smart ass social commentary essay to his teacher forces him into the volunteering club, where he comes face to face with the very beautiful looking but very cold-hearted and very just bitchy Yukino Shita Yukino. Now, the volunteer club is this very small club where a person comes in for help and the club members of the volunteer club go out and try and solve their problems, where a lot of those problems have to do with social things or maybe just general, help. And as Hikigaya meets and greets and tries to solve all these different problems, which he technically doesn't really want to do because of his actual personality, he's kind of just been forced into all this stuff, he starts to explore different social situations of different people and slowly starts to realize maybe his flaws or maybe how he is actually right. Now, that's pretty much the basis of the synopsis, but the main part that makes this series really interesting and I think super, super clever is not the story so much, but more the character, mainly Hikigaya Hachiman. I've actually said in a few videos, but Hikigaya Hachiman, the main protagonist, is probably my all-time favorite protagonist in an anime ever. His way of thinking and his non-cliche way of development within the story is just, it's like a fresh take on a kind of similar-ish story. Like, if you've never seen this series, then you probably just heard the synopsis for the first time and thought to yourself, I've kind of heard that kind of story before. It's not exactly the most unique story, but what makes this series unique is the way that the main protagonist goes through that kind of cliche setting in a very different side of the spectrum kind of view. Like, if the protagonist of this series was just your standard-the-mill, romantic comedy kind of, a little bit dense but a little bit good-hearted harem protagonist, then yeah, this series wouldn't be all that great. But one of the reasons that really makes this anime fantastic and unique is the way that the characters pretty much are different to your standard-the-mill characters, and the way that the main protagonist especially goes through those social situations in a kind of an antagonist way. Like, he's supposed to be the main character, but sometimes he can be a real dickhead, but the points that he makes in some of these, dickhead parts of the anime, you kind of listen to it and think about it carefully and you'll be like, oh, actually, he makes a really good point that no one else has really said. And as much as I don't want to compare it to its original source material, the original source material being a light novel series of the same name, by the way, that has gained a lot of awards and it's really prestigious, actually, in the light novel world. The internal monologues that you can read in the original light novel series that they a little bit chopped up in the anime series, but they didn't completely get rid of, is just so clever and so enthralling. Like, it's like you're reading an essay on social commentary, but at the same time, you're laughing your ass off at these points that you would have otherwise never thought about. Now, a couple of flaws that I can see in this anime is, like I said, they got rid of quite a bit of the internal monologue from the original source material. And also, just personally, I don't really find Yuigahama Yui to be a very central character. Like, I know a lot of people get actually quite pissed off at her because of just her personality and all of like all over the place kind of personality. But I think her character is fine, in my opinion. Like, her character is fine, but I don't think she should be one of the central focuses at the moment. I definitely think, especially in this first season, they should have focused more on Yukinoshita Yukino because she is one of those heroines that are just really, it really shapes the anime. Like, if she wasn't there, and let's say Yugahama Yui took her place, you know, like instead of a really cold-hearted, you know, very straight robotic character like Yukinoshita Yukino, they replaced it with, you know, the very light-hearted and all over the place Yugahama Yui, then this series would have been, again, very different. But unfortunately, as soon as Yugahama Yui was introduced into the first season, then it was kind of shifting from Yukinoshita to Yugahama, and I think that's where the story kind of like changed a little bit. It would have been really interesting to see them just stick to Yukinoshita for maybe the first half of the season and then move to Yugahama. Because I think that shift just happened way too quickly in my opinion. And you know, by the time you finally, you know, starting to grasp this character, which is Yukinoshita Yukino, they just quickly shifted over to Yugahama Yui, and then for the remainder of the series, or the remainder of this first season rather, they focus a lot more on Yugahama more than Yukinoshita, and I would have liked to see more Yukinoshita, to be honest, because I absolutely love her, personally. But either way, this series will make you laugh, this series will make you think, this series will make you kind of contemplate what you do in your own social space, like out in the real world. I know, the real world. We don't go out there often, but it happens. And thus I give Yahari Ore no Seishun Love Komi wa Machigatteiru Season 1 a 9 cat faces out of 10. Now, just to be clear guys, I gave this a 9 out of 10, but then it is quite a mature anime. You know, there are maybe a few like, you know, social, you know, commentary and social stances that the main character takes that may not be understood by everybody, but regardless, I think you guys will really enjoy this series if you like your kind of, you know, romance a little bit, but very psychological, very social psychology, but not the scary kind of psychology, very the thinky kind of psychology. So you kind of have to pay attention, but then again, at some parts you can also lay back. So I think this series is really for everyone if you just give it a try. What do you think about this, guys? Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? And if you have watched it, then what did you think? If you haven't watched it, then would you like to watch it? Let me know all that kind of shit in the comments below. Also, let me know in the comments below what series you would like me to review next. It could be anime series, manga series, visual novel, light novel, anything goes. Let me know in the comments below and I will consider it for next week's episode. Anyways, thanks for watching guys. As always, like if you enjoyed, subscribe for any better. See you guys next video, whatever I make. Keep watching anime. Ciao!